Second flaw he has in his theory on crime is he fails to live up to what he believes he thinks he is. He thinks that he's an extraordinary man. Now, an ordinary man is a servant. They serve as material. They're the average man. But extraordinary men, or they are people who do something new and develop the world, and they lead the ordinary man. Extraordinary men are exempt from society ingrained morality. They invent their own morality. They become their own god of sorts. And he fails to be an extraordinary man because he says they just don't question themselves. He questioned himself. Following the crime, he endured immense suffering, and in a conversation with Sonia, he claims that I did not bow to you. I bowed down to all the suffering of humanity. And this means that he is suffering. An extraordinary man would never suffer. An extraordinary man does what he thinks is right, and it is right in his own eyes. His suffering can be attributed to the guilt that ensued after the murder, and he was not the extraordinary man he thought he was. He was simply ordinary.
Raskolnikov he idolizes Napoleon because when Napoleon dies, he is revered and celebrated amongst men. And Raskolnikov desires this very much. He feels as though that because of his education and his understanding of these new ideas, he is entitled to the same treatment. And so killing the pawnbroker should thusly give him the praise that he so desires. However, after killing the old lady, he begins to feel overwhelming guilt. And because it goes against his beliefs that if he were an extraordinary man, he would feel no guilt. And this undermines a lot of his confidence and sends him in a downward spiral.
An example of the extraordinary man in the book is Svidrigailov, even though he is a failed extraordinary man. Svidrigailov has one function in life, and that is to fulfill his sensual desires. Since there are no divine providences in his life, he asserts his own will and power. He tries to convince Donia to marry him, elope with him. Even though he is married, he has nothing against getting his own way. He sets no barriers in front of himself. His life has been constructed on the idea that his own feelings and pleasures are far more important than anyone else's. He can rape a 15-year-old girl that's mute, and when she hangs herself, he doesn't blink an eye. He simply shrugs his shoulders because it doesn't affect him. But the reason that he is a failed man, and that the reason that the theory fails in general, along with Raskolnikov's theories failing, is that Svidrigailov finally, he sets Donia down, and Donia rejects him. Donia says that she does not want to marry him. She doesn't want to go to America with him and start a new life. But he himself goes to America, and that he kills himself.
In the scene following that, Raskolnikov has a dream where Ilya Petrovich is beat to death in the street. In the dream, he comments that he has never heard such sounds and sights as what he sees in his dream. He, in fact, thinks that he's actually awake. He's deeply traumatized by what he sees and can't really process it, just as he does not process the murder that he commits. This is a manifestation of his own guilt in his mind. Again, his subconscious coming to the surface and trying to push out what he's thinking about when he's awake and really bringing out the true colors of Raskolnikov.